He's kooky, he's crazy, and he's got a name that just won't quit. His name is Alec Baldwin, and he's here to tell you, no matter what you might think about him, he definitely, positively, absolutely did nothing wrong.
I think this one's loaded. You want to find out?
This is ALEC WATCH. I honestly think Alec Baldwin might have played a little too big of a hand here. I don't think this is going to work, and honestly, I think the media is turning on him because of it. So, Alec Baldwin is not suing anyone, but he is filing arbitration against the other Rust producers to effectively get everyone to agree, if he gets what he wants, to say that he did nothing wrong in terms of, killing someone. So, the interesting thing I have felt, and we'll get into what this means, I feel the interesting part of what's going on here is that the way that the media is reporting on this is starting to sound like they're actually souring on the pro-Alec Baldwin narrative. Before, everything is kind of contextualized in headlines, and it's kind of angled to say that this is it was an accident. It was unfortunate that this happened. It kind of paints Alec Baldwin in a light that makes it sound like it's an accident, and that it's maybe too big of a deal, that people are making too big of a deal about it. This is really the first time that I've seen, we're talking Variety, Daily Mail, Hollywood Reporter, Forbes, New York Times. New York Times actually broke the story to really make it seem like they see Alec Baldwin as someone who is desperately making a plea that is not very popular. And I think it seems like if it continues to go this way, I think this is going to be a turning point wherever we see that the discussion of Alec Baldwin is souring amongst everyone, because the months that have gone by since this happened on October 21st, I think what everyone was looking to see, how is this going to play out? How is the sympathy going to be? It's been so long, and his name is still so toxic with this, and I think he's helped it to stay that way, that the more that things get worse, the more the narrative is going to be bad for him. And look, if he's not going to take any responsibility for this, and I've said that I don't think he holds all the responsibility, but if he's literally going to say that he deserves no responsibility, then that's a very bad look. And if you're going to follow that through to the very end, then I don't think it should take you to a very good place. But anyway, here I'm going to go through the article that I think describes best what is going on in this situation. So, less than a month after, and this is from Forbes, less than a month after the family of slain Rust cinematographer Halyna Hutchins filed a wrongful death suit, Alec Baldwin is now seeking to protect himself against a snowballing legal action and any responsibility for killing the crew member, filed arbitration against other producers today. The actor, in an arbitration demand, blames the movie's armorer, assistant director, and man whose company supplied ammunition to the production of Rust for the incident. He says he shouldn't bear any financial responsibility. That seems a bit strange, the fact that he actually is a producer, and the fact that producers are in charge of overseeing so many of the logistics gives a lot of doubt in that. Also, and I'm not an expert on how arbitration works, what exactly is Alec Baldwin giving in return? Because this is essentially saying, hey, I'm filing something here to pretty much say that this is all on you guys, right? Like this, we good if I'm just kind of not in this at all? I'm just going to kind of sit back over here. I know that like I was holding the gun and everything, but I'm just going to sit back over here. The weird part about this, and Matt Hutchins, Halyna Hutchins' husband, whenever he did his interview a few weeks back, I think he made the best point and said it the best. There's no way that the person that is actually holding the gun that kills someone takes zero responsibility. That's not to say that they should have all of it, like I said, but to have none of it is a stretch. And to demand in arbitration, in legal filings, that you actually have no responsibility, I think is absolutely ridiculous. It goes on to say, this is a rare instance when the system, this is quoting what the actual filing said from Alec Baldwin, this is a rare instance when the system broke down and someone should be held legally culpable for the tragic consequences. Bluntly says a filing Friday by the Rust star and producer's lawyer, Luke Nikas, against lead producer Ryan Smith and Rust Move Productions, LLC. Then, quote again, that person is not Alec Baldwin. And all of that, and it really feels, you know how maybe if you're so convinced of something, it might, just a normal everyday thing, you have an idea of how something's going to go, you think something goes wrong, and your opinion, you're very invested in something going one certain direction, you can lose perspective the more that you kind of get wrapped in your own bubble. This really sounds like Alec Baldwin has been wrapped in this bubble of him being innocent for so long that he's literally saying, there's a producer sitting over here In this person, Ryan Smith, he is to blame. He should be the one who's going to be sued, not me anyway. Don't look at me at all. I just held the gun. I'm just a producer. It just went off. This is not on me. And this is why it's important that other actors have come out. The more that other actors come out and say, look, when you hold a gun, you check the gun. That's part of the protocol. That's part of what we do in this industry. It makes all of these statements of, finger pointing away from him entirely to be very, very strange. It goes on, in today's arbitration, seeking move against his fellow producers on the indie western, Baldwin seeks to invoke a provision in his contract that could indemnify him in all current and future lawsuits, as well as see his legal bills paid. Almost bearing the lead, the filing also reveals an effort by Baldwin, and this part's incredible, to resume filming on Rust and finish the $7 million budgeted movie to in part contribute to a settlement for the Hutchins family. These are all this type of olive branch. The idea that we're going to go back and we're going to finish the movie so that it can pay for it, that can be what pays back the Hutchins family. First of all, Rust was never going to make any money. The money that it was going to make was going to be just so insignificant, especially to, I think, invite the victim's family to drop all allegations. And the proof against Alec Baldwin here to actually be responsible to some degree is just so staggering. And he's got so much money, and he's a producer on the movie. To not seek to be made whole from Baldwin, I don't think it makes any sense. I don't think it makes any. And I get they're playing their card. It's that and they had Baldwin's team has the right to play the best card that they can possibly find. It's just strange that they think that it's strange that this is as good as they're able to do it. It feels very pathetic, feels very, very strange. It goes on to then say Baldwin has also found himself on set with a gun pointed at him. This is quoting from, again, the litigation. He has therefore been trained for decades about gun safety on movie sets, and he received similar training from armorer Hannah Gutierrez Reed on the set of Rust. He followed the training when this tragedy occurred on October 21st, says the arbitration demand against Rust Movie Productions, LLC, and Ryan Smith. So this is what I would ask. In terms of the actual training that he says he received, did they not tell him to check the gun? Is that would be a question that I have. I really don't know. Did they say that, go ahead and just check the gun. It takes 5 seconds. You just kind of open it up. You see there's a hole on the dummy rounds. If it doesn't have a hole, then you're really going to need to get that bullet out of there because that's a live bullet. Was that something that was told? If that was told to him, then he definitely is very culpable in this. But then again, even if he wasn't told that by her, I don't think that point that they make is strong enough to say that he holds no responsibility at all. The article then goes on. In fact, Baldwin claims in today's filing that in early January 2022, over a month before the wrongful death suit was filed, he and Matt Hutchins were speaking directly about a financial agreement for the family. Quote, during the first phone call, Hutchins told Baldwin that he proposed settlement sounded interesting, alleges Friday's document. Then, quote, he did not accept or reject the settlement, but told Baldwin that he would think it over after reviewing additional details. On the second phone call, Baldwin recalls Hutchins sounded much less open-minded. And this is one of those things I've got a company, so I deal with a lot of clients' business dealings. I've been in that situation before wherever someone kind of says that they're not really going to pay you, but this, whatever we're working on, has profits down the line and you can get a percentage of that. It always feels very, very shady to get that type of an offer. This sounds like the offer that Baldwin was offering in order to kind of have money come from the Rust movie once it's completed. There's no way. There's no way. I mean, okay, honestly, if it's completed, people are definitely probably going to check out what the movie's like, and it's going to be more popular than it would have been if it hadn't been finished. Or if it had been finished and there wasn't a tragedy. But still, you kind of want to see people that are responsible held to account to a certain degree. Or, if you're dealing with it in private, you want it to be felt that the person who is, apologizing for killing your wife is offering enough that it feels like there's, good faith here and you're actually kind of restoring what things were like before you shot my wife and she died. And it just really seems like, again, this is just more examples of denying the reality of what's actually going on here, because there's no way that Baldwin is absolutely off the hook when it comes to responsibility. Even if you hold 5% responsibility, even if you hold 1%, do something that matches the level of responsibility that you have. And no, I don't think anyone is buying this. I feel like at this point, well, I'll get to kind of what I think the next steps are for this. This is the last part. Now, post wrongful death suit filing and that today sit down, Baldwin is clearly shocked his charm offense did not work. He says via his lawyers today that plans to complete Rust and to channel his proceeds into a fund for Hutchins and his son's benefit have unfortunately broken down as a result of the lawsuit and these public statements. So, as the Santa Fe police and the local DA await the completion of the cops' probe, it seems the 30 Rock star wants to chart his own legal path. Reps for the other Rust producers did not respond to request for comment from Deadline. So, what is going to happen next? The thing that I've kind of been questioning in terms of the Santa Fe police is you're dealing with a very, very high-profile person. They've even said that they were lenient to Baldwin on the day whenever this happened, gave him a lot of grace. Baldwin has been making his own persona poisonous. Does him poisoning his own persona change the way that Santa Fe is going to be handling criminal filings? I think that's one question to look at. The other, is Baldwin going to recover from this? There have been tons of celebrities who have done absolutely terrible things that actually get people killed before, and they're able to continue in polite society. It feels like since around December things have been spiraling for him. Is this going to continue to spiral? Is there going to kind of be a shunning of his character throughout the industry? I still think that's going to be the most interesting point in this. Especially, Hollywood is not normally faced with actual real-world problems. And you obviously, as someone who loves movies, you really want the industry to step up and do what feels closer to a right thing. Because if they don't, this is just going to be another example of people hating on Hollywood. And to a degree, that's fun to do, but also you don't really want to do it all the time. They are the most powerful film industry on the planet, and it would be good for us in America if it stayed that way. So it would be good if going forward this is treated in a way that makes most people watching this from the outside feel like, okay, you handled that correctly. And I think that would probably mean the way that Alec Baldwin has made it go, that he's not going to be put in the best light. Let's just hope that movies like Drunk Parents are kind of maybe the last that we see from him. So give me your thoughts on what's going on. What questions do you have? Who should I be speaking to on something like this? I'm kind of wanting to have an expert on to kind of answer some of these questions and kind of maybe map out better territory as to what is technically ahead for this type of a proceeding. So leave any thoughts, comments below, and if you have not done so already, please subscribe to 5 Minute Critic for future updates on reviews and movie news.